before we actually begin reading the book. So always have that kind of consciousness, and let's make an intentional prayer that our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam today will help us improve our spiritual life, our consciousness, and make us think more of Krishna and allow us to serve him better. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dheena Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vavreshabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from Canto 10, Chapter 5. Does anyone remember what happened in the last session? Please feel free to unmute and shout out, or you can type in the chat if you want to type also. What happened in Chapter 4? Anyone remember?
That was 2 weeks ago, I think.
It was 2 weeks ago. I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Don't worry.
Yeah, we missed the session last Thursday.
I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt. No problem. It's been a lovely summer for everyone. I'm sure that you've been having a wonderful time. So the last session that we did was about the atrocities of King Kamsa. King Kamsa was, he was very fearful. That's the right word. He was very fearful, and he's a very cruel person. And so he carried out basically a mass genocide of infants. That was the idea, that he wants to kill all the newly born children. So let's just see, how did we even get here in the first place? Does anyone remember what the first chapter of the 10th canto starts with? Anyone? How did we get here? Shall I give it a go? Huh? Okay. So Parikshit Maharaj hears really nicely all the things in the 9th canto, and he says, I really want to know about Krishna and his pastimes. And so then Shukadeva Goswami begins the 10th canto. This canto Srila Prabhupada calls the summum bonum, which means the essence of all the things, the climax, if you'd like, the most great thing that we're going to offer in this Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, this 10th canto is so valuable that Srila Prabhupada created something called Krishna book, which is just 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how much he loved this canto. And sometimes, I don't know if any of you have been having difficulty with sleep. I've been struggling to sleep because of the hot weather. But Prabhupada says in the morning you can read Bhagavatam, in the middle of the day you can read Bhagavad Gita, and in the evening before you go to bed, you don't need to read some bedtime stories like Winnie the Pooh. You can also do that, but also you should read Krishna book. That's what you should read before you go to sleep. So these are very nice pastimes there. So we begin, and the Mother Earth is struggling. And so she goes to the demigods, the devatas, and she prays to them saying, please help me. I'm struggling with all this sinful people. It's overburdening. And they go and they have their own procedure in the same way you have a procedure in the office if something goes wrong, how to escalate it. They escalate it to Lord Brahma escalates it to Lord Shiva, and they all go and offer it to Lord Vishnu. Shaking. Oh, so scared. And they're offering prayers to Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu says that I will come, don't worry. That's chapter 1. That's what happens. So just remember that Mother Earth had desperation. We're going to come back to this at the end of the session. Mother Earth had desperation. So chapter 2 is all about what's happening on the planet Earth. So Vasudeva, sorry, actually also, it begins then, the birth of Krishna is kind of beginning to be explained. So Vasudeva and Devaki, and what's happening with Kamsa. Vasudeva and Devaki, they're married, and Kamsa is riding the chariot, and this voice from the heaven comes and says, "Oh, the 8th child of your sister Devaki will kill you." And he gets very agitated, and then Vasudeva kind of is like a therapist, and he says, "Hey, relax, it's okay." He gives all this nice philosophy, and somehow the sweet words of Vasudeva, they convince Kamsa. So that's a good lesson for all of us in how to deal with difficult people. You just have to speak to them very sweetly. Anyway, Vasudeva and Devaki, then they're later imprisoned. And she gives birth to the 6 children. And Kamsa, how cruel he is. His own nephews, he slaughters them. He kills them. It's terrible what he does. The 7th child appears to be a miscarriage. But actually what happens is Yogamaya, Krishna's internal potency, transfers the 7th child of Devaki from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So just keep that in mind, transferred from womb of Devaki to Rohini, and that person is Balaram. Why did he do that? Why did Krishna make that transfer happen? Because it's not very clear now. Who is the 8th child? Is the next child going to be the 7th child or the 8th child? It's a bit confusing. Right? And Krishna likes to confuse the demons. Demons think they're so intelligent. Look at me, I'm Kamsa, I've made a master plan, I'm going to imprison them and kill the 8th child. It doesn't matter. Krishna's plan is always better than that. So Balaram is transferred into the womb of Rohini. That's in the 2nd chapter. And then the Devatas, they come and they offer beautiful prayers. It's called Garbhastuti. This is all in chapter 2. Chapter 3, Vishnu appears directly to Devaki and Vasudeva in the prison, and he says, "Fear not, I will become your child." And they have this beautiful vision of Lord Vishnu. And then in chapter 4, we hear about the atrocities of Kamsa. So what happens is, Devaki and Vasudeva, they give birth to Krishna. Well, Devaki gives birth to Krishna. And Vasudeva, he takes Krishna, and in the mystical arrangement, he swaps Krishna with a baby girl that is born to Mother Yashoda. And then that baby girl is brought into the prison. All the guards are asleep. And Kamsa comes, he takes this baby girl and he dashes her to the ground to try and kill her. And what happens? Who comes out? Does anyone want to say? No, not you. I know, of course you will say the right answer. I feel very happy always when my dad gives classes, then I would put my hand up first, and he would say, no, not you. So now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. Anyone want to give the answer? Who is that baby girl, actually? Yes,
She
please shout
flies
it out.
out with Kamsa's hands and up into the air. And she's Yogamaya, I think.
Yeah, she's Yogamaya. She's Durga Devi. She comes and she says, "Actually, Kamsa, the 8th child of Devaki has already been born elsewhere." And then she goes away. Wow, plot twist. You don't need to go and see any movies, you just can read Bhagavatam. So many plot twists. Then Kamsa gives an instruction. Very cruel instruction. Kill all newborn children. And for the purpose of this majority of the beginning of 10th Canto, the first 48 chapters, just revolves around Kamsa's this instruction and how the Supreme Lord defeats those demons that Kamsa sends. So you have to realize the high-stakes situation we're in. We're in a circumstance before the 5th chapter where Kamsa is trying to kill all the children. Now, who knows about this situation? Who knows that Krishna is the 8th child? Only Vasudeva knows. Nanda Maharaj is under the influence of Yogamaya. He doesn't know that Krishna is Krishna is actually the 8th child. Who's been prophesied to kill Kamsa. He doesn't know that. So Vasudeva knows, so he has a natural anxiety, right? So in that place, that high-stakes circumstance, this is the 5th chapter. What will happen? Kamsa is given the instruction, what will happen to Krishna? So in that place, we're going to find out what happens. Okay? Let me share my screen. How do I do this? Share screen.
At the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not used to the Zoom. Okay, I'm just redoing this. Yeah, 5. We'll read some verses. First 18 verses of the chapter are to do with the birth celebration of Krishna. So can we have someone to read from verse 1 to 4, please?
Could you make the font size bigger?
Yeah, is this okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Any devotees, please feel free to read.
Please raise your hand if you're able to read today.
I'll read. Is that okay? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Which verse? Sorry.
From text 1 to 4, the
Text
translations.
Okay, thank you. Sukadev Goswami said Nand Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing that right. And
That's
when Lord Sri Krishna uh, appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantra. After having this qualified Brahmana recite auspicious Vedic hymns, he arranged to have a Vedic birth ceremony celebrated for his newborn child according to the rules and regulation. And he also arranged for worship of the demigods and forefather. Text 3. Nand Maharaj gave 2 million cows, completely decorated with the clothes and jewels, in charity to Brahmanas. He also gave them 7 hills of grain covered with jewels and with clothes decorated with golden embroidery. Text 4. O king, by passing of time, land and other material possession are purified. By bathing, the body is purified, and by being cleansed, unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, birth is purified. By austerity, the senses are purified. And by worship and charity offered to the Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. By satisfaction, the mind is purified, and by self realization or Krishna consciousness, the soul is purified.
Mm.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So Nanda Maharaj, he's so happy that he has a son. Nanda Maharaj is quite old actually at this point, and so he was worried whether he will have a son. So as soon as Krishna is born, he's so happy, and he carries out the Jata Karma ceremony, the samskara which is done for the newborn, which is actually to do with the cutting of the umbilical cord. Now here's an interesting detail to note. Although Krishna was born with Vasudeva and Devaki, in the first verse, actually, the commentary Prabhupada explains that Krishna was simultaneously born to Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Krishna is transcendental. He can be born everywhere and do everything he wants. But this is really important because the scriptures make a distinguishment of the mood of Krishna in Vrindavan and Krishna out of Vrindavan. And the scriptures say that actually Krishna is always in Vrindavan. But actually Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So Krishna was born in Vrindavan as well. And so they did this ceremony where they cut the umbilical cord, which means that Krishna was also born to Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. So some of the acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and so on, have explained that when Vasudeva brought Krishna to Yashoda Maharani and Nanda Maharaj, then the Vasudeva Krishna and the Nandana Krishna, they merged. So actually Krishna already was born to Nanda Maharaj, and Nanda Maharaj carried out this auspicious ceremony of Jata Karma. There are other evidences also to show that Krishna was born in Vraja. The Gopi Gita, they sing Jayati Devikam Janmana Vraja Sharashadindhira Shashvadatrahi. So there you have this phrase, Janmana Vraja, who was born in Vraja. In that way, so Krishna was also born here, and they carried out this Vedic ceremony. And Nanda Maharaj, he was so happy to have the son, he carried out a big festival. Now, when we have our festivals, what do? We might give people some items of prasad, 15 items of prasad sometimes in weddings nowadays. Sometimes I was hearing that in weddings in India now they're even doing like 500 items and all of these kinds of things. But Nanda Maharaj, he didn't just give these wonderful items of food, but he gave 2 million cows to the Brahmanas. 2 million cows, my God, how many cows can we don't even have one cow. Nanda Maharaj had 2 million cows. He decorated them nicely with cloths and jewels, and he gave them to the Brahmanas in charity. And then on top of that, he's giving grain covered in jewels and nice cloths, embroidered very nicely. This is how Nanda Maharaj gave. That festival is so famous. What is that festival called? Does anyone know what it's called in Vrindavan now? The festival of Nanda Maharaj?
Nandotsav.
Nandotsav. He was so happy. Nanda ke ananda bayo jai kanaya lalaki, like this. So, Nandotsav. Now, text 4 is a very important verse. And Prabhupada elaborates on this verse in great detail in Krishna book about purification. Whatever we have, when we give in charity, whatever we earn, whenever we give in charity, it becomes purified. When we earn something, sometimes there's some impurity in the way we've earned it. Sometimes there's something bad about the way we've earned it, somewhere, whether we like or we don't like. And when we offer those things in charity to Krishna and the saintly persons, then even though there's impurity there, it becomes purified. By bathing, the body is purified. By being cleansed, the unclean things are purified. By purificatory ceremonies, the birth is purified. By austerity, tapasya, the senses are purified. By worship and charity offered to Brahmanas, material possessions are purified. Purification is a key important ingredient in spiritual life. Otherwise, we cannot have genuine spiritual life unless we try and have some process of purification. That's why Srila Prabhupada calls the process of devotional service a purificatory process. By following this process, you naturally become purified. Similarly, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 9, verse number 27, Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadhasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. My dear son of Kunti, whatever you eat, whatever you own, you give away, whatever charity you do, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So we have all these material things and they are binding us and they're holding us back here and we're suffering so much because of it. But when we give those things to Krishna, then we get purified. So people may ask, how can we get purified in this age? All we have to do is what we have, we offer a little bit to Krishna. Someone read the, yeah, there it is. Can someone read the purport? Sorry.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
These are Shastric injunctions concerning how one can purify everything according to Vedic civilization. Unless purified, anything we use will infect us with contamination. In India, 5,000 years ago, even in the villages, such as that of Nanda Maharaj, people knew how to purify things. And thus, they enjoyed even material life without contamination.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mataji. So when we purify these things, we don't get contaminated, and then we can improve our life. So our life is meant for purification, but we can purify in this festive way, not in a burdensome way. And this is what Nanda Maharaj did here. It's a very nice instruction for all of us to keep. First lesson, that we should purify everything that we have by offering it to Krishna and the saintly persons. Okay, can I have someone to read from verses 5 to 8, please?
I'll do
Purna
Prabhuji.
Mataji? Yeah, Purna Mataji. Oh, yeah. Usha Mataji, yeah, please.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Text
Krishna.
5, yeah. The Brahmanas recited auspicious Vedic hymns which purified the environment by their vibration. The experts in reciting all histories like the Puranas, the experts in reciting the histories of royal families, and general reciters all chanted, while singers sang and many kinds of musical instruments like beherds and dundubis played in accompaniment. Text 6. Rajapura, the residence of Nanda Maharaj, was fully decorated with varieties of festoons and flags, and in different places, gates were made with varieties of flower garlands, pieces of cloth, and mango leaves. The courtyards, the gates near the roads, and everything within the rooms of the houses were perfectly swept and washed with water. Text 7. The cows, the bulls, and the calves were thoroughly smeared with a mixture of turmeric, and oil, mixed with varieties of minerals. The heads were bedecked with peacock feathers, and they were garlanded and covered with cloth and golden ornaments. Text 8. O King Parikshit, the cowherd men dressed very opulently with valuable ornaments and garments such as coats and turbans, decorated in this way and carrying various presentations in their hands. They approached the house of Nanda Maharaj. Do you want me to read 9 as well?
Can you do 9 as well, Mataji? Yes, please.
No problem. Text 9. The Gopi wives of the cowherd men were very pleased to hear that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a son, and they began to decorate themselves very nicely with proper dresses, ornaments, black ointment for the eyes, and so on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So nice, isn't it? The celebrations, festivities, everyone is very nicely dressing up, decorating themselves. The Matajis, the Gopis, they're so beautifully decorating themselves. In the same way, the cowherd men are also wearing nice ornaments and garments, coats, turbans. So actually, there's a really important point here, which people might miss. But it's Utsava iti manava. Manavatva iti utsava. That Srila Prabhupada says many times, the nature of a person, the nature of a human, is to want to have a festival. And so, if we don't have these spiritual festivals for the birthday of Krishna like Janmashtami, and the birthday of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaura Purnima, the birthday of the spiritual master on Vyasa Puja, and other such festivals, Deepavali, and so on, then we have a tendency to enjoy the festivities, but if we don't do it in the right way according to scriptures, we're going to do it somewhere else and get ourselves contaminated and make ourselves become very materially infected. But when we do the same festivities with the devotees, then we will have so much joy that will remove contamination. If you like to dress up, yes, dress up incredibly beautifully. Srila Prabhupada would say, yes, please look as beautiful as you can so that Radha Krishna can see you and they can become very happy by seeing you. So in that way, we have these natural desires, but we should enjoy the spiritual festivals. Luckily, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, every other day there is some festival. Every other day, some Ekadashi, some ceremony, some Paurami. We just celebrated Guru Purnima yesterday, and so on. There are always festivals, and in all these festivals, we can nicely dress up, we can nicely enjoy and offer our lives to Krishna. So enjoy while serving Krishna. This is very important. Second lesson. First lesson is purification. Second lesson is to have spiritual festivals and dress up. There's another point that we'll come to, and you'll see this theme repeated throughout the chapter, and it's about these cows. The cows, the bulls, and the calves were thoroughly smeared with a mixture of turmeric and oil, mixed with a variety of minerals. Their heads were bedecked with peacock feathers. They were garlanded and covered with cloth and golden ornaments. In other words, not just the people are dressed up. Matajis and Prabhus, the cows are also dressed up. They're so opulent also, just in the same way their people are wearing nice jewelry and ornaments and clothes, the cows are also wearing nice jewelry, ornaments, and clothes. So beautiful. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to write a lot about cow protection in this chapter, a repeated theme of cow protection and how that actually adds a lot of value to society. And we'll see that a little bit in the verses further on. Can I have can some devotee volunteer to read this purport? It's a very powerful purport, I think, for us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, Mataji, please. Thank you, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead has instructed in Bhagavad Gita 18.44, Krishi go rakshya vanijyam vaishya karma swabhavajam. Sorry, the font is a little too small for me.
Sorry. Let me try. Let me just do this a little bit more.
Farming, cow protection, and trade are the qualities of work for the Vaishyas. Nanda Maharaj belonged to the Vaishya community, the agriculturist community. How to protect the cows and how rich this community was are explained in these verses. We can hardly imagine the cows, bulls, and calves could be cared for so nicely and decorated so well with cloths and valuable golden ornaments. How happy they were. As described elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, during Maharaj Yudhishthir's time, the cows were so happy that they used to muddy the pasturing ground with milk. This is Indian civilization. Yet, in the same place, India, Bharatvarsh, how much people are suffering by giving up the Vedic way of life and not understanding the teachings of Bhagavad Gita.
Powerful purport, right? Thank you so much, Mataji. Really powerful purport. The cows in Yudhishthira Maharaj's time, they were muddying the places because they were giving so much milk. And Prabhupada makes a second point, which is how rich they were. If we want to dress up now, we can't even afford to dress up our own people. Nanda Maharaj was dressing up 2 million cows and giving them away in charity. He was not giving some simple naked cows and just, go. No, they're all so beautiful. Someone's putting turmeric. Also, where did they get the manpower from? Turmeric for 2 million cows. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? So this agricultural lifestyle is a very natural lifestyle. It's a very Vedic lifestyle. And Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. Krishi means agriculture. Go means cow. To protect the agriculture and the cow is a very important thing in the Vedic life. For the people that want to earn money, the Vaishyas who want to do business, the way that's recommended for them to do business is through agricultural methods. Now what we've done as a society on a global scale is we've moved away from the land and we've moved towards the machines. This happens primarily actually in the 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. You see a significant uptick in the movement away from agriculture and the movement towards machinery. And although, yes, that economically might have helped us in many ways, it's moved us away from nature. If you ask a boy now, a young boy or girl, how to milk a cow, they will say, I don't know how to milk a cow, but I can scroll on Instagram. Where does the milk come from? I don't know. It comes from my father's car boot. So we've moved away from nature. But when we live this life in the city, and I can speak from Pratyaksha Praman in London, that city life is not a nice life. But when you have a little bit of nature, greenery, trees, water, how peaceful your mind feels. That's why the sages, they meditate under the trees, or they go to the water bodies. You can try this out, a little experiment. Just walk near the water body. Hear the sound of the river flowing, or just a lake. Just walk on the side. Very powerful for the calming of the mind. But as a society, we're moving so away, and Prabhupada says how much we've forgotten actually, how beautiful and how wealthy this society was because it was connected to nature, so the cows were happy and the people were wealthy, they were living very happily. This is actually real Vaishya Dharma, real business that we should do. So therefore there is a need for us in the future to build more and more farm communities and take care of the cows and protect them more. Don't know if there's anything that devotees are having thoughts about, or is anyone remembering their childhood in village and nice simple times versus now? Please feel free to share. Do you want to say anything?
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just came back from Kerala and it was so nice and luscious trees. Every morning we wake up to surrounded by trees and butterflies and coconut trees everywhere. So it was the best thing, and I'm still missing them. Like it's been a week since I'm back and I'm still missing it. So I know it's completely different. You feel a different energy when you come from there. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Anyone
Yes,
else?
Prabhuji. Yeah,
Yes,
I
please.
remember, Prabhuji, when in the childhood, we used to go behind, there was something called a gohard. I mean, the number of cohort of cows used to pass by from our home. So we used to take the pot and we go behind them and walk for 1 to 2 miles to collect the cow dung, because
Wow.
that was used to what we say, paint the house from inside. So that was a very good time. That house has gone now. New house has come with concrete. But I still remember that. It was very nice time. I used to go alone with other unknown ladies, and after walking for 2-3 miles, then I used to come back. It was the time when I was first or second standard. It was
Oh,
very
wow.
nice time. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you. Very actually, how deprived it feels that yes, we've lived in such an opulent lifestyle in the city, but actually, is it that opulent? Like when Mataji was saying, I'm waking up to the sounds of the trees and the birds, and I'm thinking, I live in London. I'm waking up to the sound of cars honking and people shouting and trains running. It's like, what kind of lifestyle have we created for ourselves? And we called ourselves a so-called advanced civilization. Srila Prabhupada writes actually that we are living the rat race, but if you win the rat race, you're still a rat. If you're the top dog, you're still a dog. So what's the point? We're working so hard just to become like a glorified animal, but actually just the natural lifestyle is so much more peaceful. Many times you'll see in Prabhupada's purports that he says about this natural lifestyle, living in line with nature, living in accordance with nature. And what we're doing now, so many of the diseases we're feeling, so many of the mental health, depression and anxiety that we're feeling is all because we've removed ourselves from nature. And I was speaking to some friends from the University of Cambridge, and they work in psychology. And they said one of the best remedies for many mental illnesses is to take someone who's in a complex city lifestyle and to put them in a nice village lifestyle and give them that exposure of the village. Actually, one of the recommended methods for treating some form of depression was to milk the cow. Just milking the cow. Peaceful, you know? So yes, we created all the machines to do this, and we thought now if I create the machine, my problem will go. But actually, we are becoming crazy. The machine is becoming happy, and we are becoming crazy. Does anyone else have any reflections, thoughts about this natural lifestyle?
May I share an experience I had growing up in, I grew up in Bristol, but I used to visit relatives and an auntie who is my grandfather's auntie on my maternal side, and she had like about 12 cows.
12
She had
cows.
a sister who, not all milking at the same time, but her sister and husband, they had one cow, and that cow was called Poppy, and it was so well loved. The amount of milk it produced was almost equivalent to the milking cows of my auntie. It was remarkable to see. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hamsini Mataji is telling the very powerful point, because now they complain the cows don't give milk, but the cows don't give milk because we don't love them. That's why the cows aren't giving milk. It's like, it's from a natural point of view, if I put stress on a person, then the output of the body that they can do, the physical amount of work that they can do is less, just because they're stressed internally, right? So same thing with the
Krishna
cow.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, a small, this one, my childhood remembrance, just I remember
Please
that.
tell.
You know, when all the village cows used to go together, one cowboy, 2-3 cowboys used to take them for grazing, and when they're coming back in the evening, the dust used to come when they were coming.
Dust,
Dust used to come. My parents used to say, my grandmother parents, in that dust, Lakshmi is coming to our house. So for that, we need to invite them, like welcoming, by putting water in front of our houses. Everybody used to put water in front of our houses, like sprinkling water. So that was so nice. Thank you.
It's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Many people, we came to the Western world thinking we will get some economic prosperity, and we do. It's no doubt that there's economic prosperity, but it comes at the cost of our sanity. We don't realize what we've given up, which is our sanity. Look, we're looking at, my God, I spend half my day looking at Excel and Python. Whereas if you're living in the farm, you can just see the nice trees, the greenery, the cows. I'm sure there's difficulty there also, but it's sattvic. It's very mode of goodness. Garnatraj Prabhu, my father, would you like to share something?
Yeah, so I'm also from farming family. Especially I remember if the cows and bulls, they became part of your family, basically, your family member. If, sometimes they see us, if I've realized many times, if a family member is deceased, they don't eat that day. They don't eat. They did not eat many times. They could recognize, they became part of the family, and we were also like that. If they are if they are ill or if they are deceased, and the whole family believes like that. I remember. So I thought I would share.
Powerful, isn't it? What we're doing, we think we're making advancement by moving away, but this passage of Krishna book should teach us that actually the real advancement is living in accordance with nature, materially. Poonaji, yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. So in connection to what Nataraj Prabhu said, I recently heard in some lecture that, the cows that were in the family, if they felt that somebody was ill, they would go and eat a particular type of herb, to cure that disease. And so after consuming the milk from that cow, the disease would be cured. So that strong was the connection, between the people and the cows.
That's the potency of the mother cow. Wow, thank you, Mataji. Very powerful. Srila Prabhupada used to sometimes make a joke. Your science, you say your science? Okay, give me one machine, I'll put in the grass and it will make milk. You think that the science can do, but actually there is so much more that the intelligence of the Vedic civilization. The Vedic civilization is one of the most advanced civilizations. Please don't think it's anything small or insignificant. When the ancient Greeks, they wrote about the Indians, they say that the Vedic civilization, Indica, there is a book actually written by Megasthenes, which has a little bit been lost in time, but in that he glorifies the civilization of ancient India. And similarly, the Greeks, a lot of them actually took a lot of their philosophical training from the six different schools of Vedic thought. Socrates' name comes from the Sanskrit Sukrita, one who does good pious activities. Sukrita became Socrates, like that. Krishna becomes Christ. We see that in Science of Self-Realization also. So this ancient, Swedish Highlands, Bhakti Padmaswami, who was previously Kamalalochana Prabhu, he was sharing with us, in the Swedish Highlands for hundreds of years they never killed the cow, and you can still speak to some farmers who live in the Swedish Highlands and they say, we never used to kill the cow, only recently because of the farming practices and because it became common to kill cows for beef, then we are killing. But actually this civilization, Vedic civilization, was present across the globe, and the cow was worshipped as mother. So some people, they might say, oh, why they worship cow, but the cow is given such value because of it's adding so much value to society to make society so stable. And we're going to see a little bit more of that in this chapter. But thank you all devotees for sharing these points. I'll just read one more commentary from this first section, which first section of this chapter is from verses 1 to 18. So this is verse number 14. Translation. In gladness, the cowherd men enjoyed the great festival by splashing one another's bodies with a mixture of curd, condensed milk, butter, and water. They threw butter on one another and smeared it on one another's bodies. Now, before I read the purport, if you have less milk, will you throw milk on each other? No. Why are they splashing each other with milk? What can you infer with intelligence? What can you infer just by reading that section?
They have a lot of milk and...
Yes, Mataji, please. Someone said they have it cuts a little bit, but I think they said they have a lot of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had excess milk. That's the wealth of this society. So not only is Nanda Maharaj, he's actually a Vaishya background from agricultural society. You might think very poor, but look how much wealth they have. That they so much in the society that they had excess milk and they're throwing and playing with each other. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purports, look at what we're doing. It's almost like, what are we actually doing to ourselves as a society? From this statement, we can understand that 5,000 years ago, not only was there enough milk, butter, and curd to eat, drink, and cook with, but that when there was a festival, it would be thrown about without restriction. There was no limit to how extensively milk, butter, curd, and other such products were used in human society. Everyone had an ample stock of milk, and by using it in many varied milk preparations, people would keep good health in natural ways and thus enjoy life in Krishna consciousness. So powerful. That's how much.
Yeah,
sorry,
Nisha raised her hand.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just wanted to ask, now we have this varieties of cow and everybody drink A2 milk. What milk we should consume really?
So scripturally, from what I've understood from devotees, but I'm happy to be corrected here because I'm definitely not expert in this field. From my understanding, the milk we get now is actually, regardless of A2 or A1, I've heard from devotees that if the cow is making the milk out of pain, then that consciousness will go into the milk and that consciousness will go into us. So I'm irrespective of A2 and A1, Himsa versus Ahimsa is best. Ahimsa A2 is always better than Himsa A1. Violent A1 is bad compared to non-violent A2. Having said that, I've heard from a lot of devotees that the A1 cow is the one that used to grow in this, the cows that used to roam in the Vedic society, and that milk is much better. Although I'm not an expert in that field, I don't know if you want to add anything there.
What about the supermarket milks, which we like Tesco or something? Because, that's more readily available. How do we judge we should not drink this milk or that milk?
So I can say very simply, the little I know is that some milk is better than no milk, but good
Okay.
milk is better than bad milk.
Okay.
So when you don't have
Yeah.
access to other milk, Srila Prabhupada still recommended that we take this kind of milk, but actually our goal is to not have the milk which is coming from violence. Our goal is that we should create farm communities that creates milk without violence. But maybe, yeah, you can add something, Nana.
Okay.
Yeah. So current, yeah. Ideally, we should consume ahimsa milk. That is an ideal situation where cows are treated nicely with love and affection. They are fed nicely, and no slaughtering of the cow. Once it doesn't give the milk, you don't slaughter. Everything is natural, organic. So ideally, that's better. There are some farm communities in the UK. Some devotees are, generating ahimsa milk, which is not enough for, for the consumption of devotees, which is insufficient. I know many devotees in and around Leicester, in London, they consume this ahimsa milk. We used to get as well to delivered to Manchester many times. That's better, but if you don't get that, maybe what other alternative you have is you have to take some organic milk. Organic milk is better. It's not slaughter free, it's not ahimsa, but if you have to choose, organic milk can be chosen, but that's only alternative, but that's not ideal.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Prabhuji,
So, yes,
sorry.
please.
Yes, Purna Mataji,
In
please.
extension to that, how about this, almond milk and soy milk and, which looks such artificial sources?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Many people they take, as vegans, many devotees also consume soya, almond, coconut,
Coconut.
even rice milk also. Yesterday I was hearing. Yeah. So um, if some devotees are going vegan, they can consume that way if you are going vegan. But the cow's milk had been recommended for the development of brain tissue. That is the Vedic system, like, almond milk and other milk may not do the same function that a cow milk does. Right, Sundar Chaitanya?
Yeah, I just want to say that Srila Prabhupada was adamant about two things. He was adamant that we should consume milk, but also, outside of Krishna consciousness, he said, even if we can just destroy slaughterhouses, not literally destroy them, but remove this slaughterhouse propensity, then we'll make a great difference to society. So definitely we do need milk for the progress of the human lifestyle. And Srila Prabhupada, we have to remember, in his time, he knew how the slaughterhouses were there, but yet he chose to consume the milk because he recognized how important it is to offer that milk to the devotees, to Krishna, for the development of finer brain tissues. And actually, a lot of these hippies, they became devotees because of that process that Srila Prabhupada had given. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada writes that, I don't want to make this a statement that we all do nonsense, but Srila Prabhupada said, even if one breaks the other three regulative principles, if they eat meat, then I can never forgive them. Srila Prabhupada says like that. So that's how much he wanted to have a stance against the meat eating. Actually, it's also a plea to all the devotees that if you have some way, shape, or form of creating a major protest and disrupting the meat eating in society, then we should do it. Srila Prabhupada would be happy. At the same time, there is also, unfortunately, a need for milk, so we have to find different ways to navigate that. Different devotees do in their way, but there is some need for milk somehow or other.
Prabhuji, if you don't mind telling what milk you consume.
Mataji, in all honesty, sometimes I don't consume milk in some weeks because of my diet. So let's not talk. I am some rascal also. My eating habits are a little bit here and there, right? I just eat rice and sabji every day. I'm not the best ideal example of devotee, but I try and have organic milk whenever I have milk.
Okay,
If I have access to ahimsa milk, I'll get for ahimsa. So
Okay.
when we had a stock recently of lots of ahimsa milk, we consumed that for quite some time, but then when we ran out, we went to organic.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
But yeah, please don't take me as ideal example. Let's try and even I have so much room to progress.
It just was so confusing. I was thinking because the availability and everything we have to think about. So I wanted to make the right choice. And this question was going around in my head for a bit, and I just wanted to ask.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so this actually is the 90% of the chapter. Then we'll talk a little bit now about the remaining half of the chapter. Now, Nanda Maharaj is having all these festivals, but he's not the ruler of the entire land. King Kamsa is the ruler. King Kamsa rules, and therefore verse number 19 says that Nanda Maharaj had to go to King Kamsa and give tax, pay tax to King Kamsa. So he went to the king, he paid the tax. As he's traveling, Vasudev catches word of Kamsa coming. But, Kamsa doesn't, Vasudev catches word of Nanda Maharaj coming to give tax to Kamsa. But Vasudev, he's got this anxiety because he knows that Kamsa has made these laws now to try and kill all the children. So he's worried naturally for Krishna and Balaram. What will happen to them? So he inquires about those two sons, but he has to do it so in a way that's hidden because he doesn't want Nanda Maharaj to know the whole story, the switching the babies and all of this and so on. So in this way, he asks how are they basically in a gentle way. So he inquires first about the cows. Verse number 26. Oh, I'm not sharing screen, sorry. He asks about the cows. Verse number 26, Vasudev says, "My dear friend Nanda Maharaj, in the place where you are living with your friends, is the forest favorable for the animals, the cows? I hope there is no disease or inconvenience. The place must be full of water, grass, and other plants." Purport: for human happiness, one must care for animals, especially the cows. Vasudev therefore inquired whether there was a good arrangement for the animals where Nanda Maharaj lived. For the proper pursuit of human happiness, there must be arrangement for the protection of the cows. That means there must be forests for adequate pasturing grounds full of grass and water. If the animals are happy, there will be an ample supply of milk, from which human beings will derive many milk products with which to live happily. As enjoined in Bhagavad Gita, same verse, Krishi Gorakshavani Jam Vaishakarma Svabhava Jam. Without giving proper facility to the animals, how can human society be happy? That people are raising cattle to send to the slaughterhouse is a great sin. By this demoniac enterprise, people are ruining their chance for a truly human life. Because they are not giving any importance to the instructions of Krishna, the advancement of their so-called civilization resembles the crazy efforts of men in a lunatic asylum. Heavy. This is Srila Prabhupada's emphasis on the cow care. Again, so Vasudev, he asks about the cows. He asks a little bit about Baladev. Baladev is being raised by Balaram, is being raised by Rohini, who is Vasudev's wife. Rohini is staying, of course, with Nanda Maharaj. And so Vasudev, he's interested in the welfare of others. Nanda Maharaj also speaks nicely with him. Nanda Maharaj said, yes, the cows are fine, everything is fine. But he consoles Vasudev. He says, King Kamsa killed so many of your children. And your youngest daughter also, she entered the heavenly planets. He says like that. And actually, this made Vasudev very happy because he realized that Maharaj Nanda does not know about the full details. So he became quite happy. And Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj, they had this very beautiful relationship. So he's inquiring in this way. Nanda Maharaj is telling the answers. Nanda Maharaj consoles Vasudeva about his losing the 6 sons and the daughter. And Vasudeva then says at the end of the chapter that in verse number 31 and 32, Vasudeva says, now that, my dear brother, you have paid the annual tax to Kamsa and have also seen me, do not stay in this place for many days. It is better to return to Gokul since I know there may be some disturbances there. Text 32, Shukadev Goswami said, after Vasudev advised Nanda Maharaj in this way, Nanda Maharaj and his associates, the cowherd men, took permission from Vasudev, yoked their bulls to the bullock carts, and started riding back to Gokula. In other words, there's a small meeting between Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj. Just Vasudev wanted to make sure that Krishna and Balaram are being taken care of, okay? And just he wanted to make sure that Nanda Maharaj also did not know about the full situation, otherwise he will not love Krishna as much as he should. But once he felt very happy about that, then he advised them to quickly go home just to make sure that Krishna is safe. But, as we'll find out in the next chapter, there is something brewing in Vraj. A very beautiful woman someone has disguised himself as a very beautiful woman in chapter 6. And they're going to secretly try and get past all the security of Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj is going to go back and he's going to find an interesting, big surprise over there. But that's not for us to deal with in this chapter. So this is this chapter. Mainly this chapter in Srila Prabhupada's purports, it focuses on cow care. And the important principles we can remember, number 1, purification. Human life is for purification. All these festivals and offerings that we do to Krishna are for purification. Charity to the saintly persons for purification. This is how we purify ourselves. Whatever we get, we offer to Krishna and the devotees. Point number 1. Point number 2, we like to have festivals. We're going to like to have festivals. Manavatva iti utsava. It's natural. Human life means you want festivals. So let's have the spiritual festivals. And then point number 3, which is reiterated over and over and over in this chapter, is let's make our life more like the agricultural life. Let's move our life more in line with nature where possible. Because where we're not doing that, we're seeing a great deal of suffering. Purely material, this is not even a spiritual point. Just for our material life to be more sattvic, peaceful and enjoyable, we should align ourselves more with nature. After that conversation after the festivals, there is a conversation between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev. And Vasudev just checks with Nanda Maharaj that the cows are well. Nanda Maharaj says yes. He checks that the boys are well. He says yes. And then he says, quickly go home. There may be disturbances in Gokul. And Nanda Maharaj goes home. This is the 5th chapter of the 10th canto. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vasudev addresses Nanda Maharaj as my dear brother.
Well, let me pull that up.
Yes, so if you can say something on how they are related, Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj.
Verse number 20. So he says, Brataram. In other words, my dear friend and brother. Do we have a volunteer to read this purport?
Would anybody like to read this purport?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go on, Mataji.
Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj were so intimately connected that they lived like brothers. Furthermore, it is learned from the notes of Sripad Madhavacharya that Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj were stepbrothers. Vasudev's father, Shurasen, married a Vaishya girl, and from her Nanda Maharaj was born. Later, Nanda Maharaj himself married a Vaishya girl, Yashoda. Therefore, his family is celebrated as a Vaishya family, and Krishna, identifying himself as their son, took charge of Vaishya activities. Krishi Go Rakshaya Vanijyam. Balaram represents ploughing the land for agriculture and therefore always carries in his hand a plough, whereas Krishna tends cows and therefore carries a flute in his hand. Thus, the two brothers represent Krishi, Rakshya, and Gorakshya.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So, again, Prabhupada, how many times we're seeing same verse quoted? 1844. Krishi Raksha, agricultural protection, Balaram. Goraksha, cow protection, Krishna. And we also learn the interesting relationship here that Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj are stepbrothers because Nanda Maharaj is actually the son of Shurasen through a Vaishya wife. And so that's the relationship between them also. So that's why they're so intimately connected.
Another point here, another point Prabhupada highlights, the two gods. Balaram is, he takes plow. His weapon is plow, which he used for fielding the lands, agricultural lands. and Krishna tends cows. So they are related to both gods, Balram and Krishna. Their activities are related to Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, means agriculture related
Okay.
activities,
Yeah.
protecting cows and farming.
And maybe actually, while we're in this mood of discussing about cows and farming, which has been the theme of this session, everyone thought they will hear Krishna Katha, and we heard agriculture Katha. Text number 8. When we consider the past condition of the agriculturalist in the village, we can see how opulent he was, simply because of agricultural produce and protection of cows. At present, however, agriculture having been neglected and cow protection given up, the agriculturalist is suffering pitiably and is dressed in niggardly torn cloth. This is the distinction between the India of history and the India of present day. By the atrocious activities of Ugra Karma, how we are killing the opportunity of human civilization. So this is our spiritual business. We have an agenda for cow protection and agriculture protection.
So I think the summary would be that see what you can do, but follow four regulative principles and chant Hare Krishna. That can be done. Yeah, that is very important. Yes, if you are able to contribute and support the cow protection farming project, Ahimsa project, we can do that. Yeah, thank you.
And we could also
Chaitanya.
increase the little bit amount of nature in our life also. Just a little bit more natural lifestyle is better for our spiritual life.
That will actually bring us to the mode of goodness.
Good.
Yeah, many people, they're stressed when they work in the garden. Their stress is relieved. Yeah, that's a sign. All big people, they like to work in the garden and put their hands in the sand or whatever they call it, and that's how the stress is relieved. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sundar Chaitanya, for that wonderful presentation, dear devotees. So if anybody has any comments or any questions, they can do so. Otherwise, we can end the session here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Purna Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhuji, can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah, sure.
So, Prabhuji, what is Srila Prabhupada's take on honey and, wearing silk?
Okay, you can answer, Sundar Chaitanya.
These are things which we do in the Vedic lifestyle, but we do in a way that's not meant for the hurting or harming of the animals. I merged those words together. Hurting or harming of animals. It's not good. Like even the mridanga uses leather. The skin of the cow is used for the mridanga. Historically, after the cow naturally passes away, the skin is used. But now what's happening? People are making mridangas and they are slaughtering the cow and selling to factories for mridanga production. So in that way, it's ideal as much as possible that we should try and go for the ahimsa products, ahimsa silk if possible, ahimsa honey if possible, ahimsa vegan mridanga, madhura mridanga if possible. But ultimately, our higher principle is not just this, Mataji. When we are wearing this clothes, see, I'm wearing this shirt. How many people suffered to make my shirt? In factories where they were labor, maybe even child labor is there in Bangladesh and things like that. So there is always so much sin in everything we do, not just in the animal products we consume. Whether it's the buying of this plant, who knows how many people suffered to buy this, the making of these paintings, the building of this wood. So much suffering is there, and so much contamination is there. The highest principle, number 1 principle, offer everything to Krishna. Use everything in service of Krishna. Secondary important principle, if you can do, then you go for the vegan version of the products, ahimsa version of the products, if possible. But our ultimate principle is to use things for Krishna. And if you want to see what Srila Prabhupada did, is that although he was not happy, he did use these things in Krishna service because he's seeing the higher dimension.
Yeah. You use it in the Krishna service as required. When things are, they made it commercial. When you make things commercial, then there is unwanted, there is excess killing or, yeah. So see, the pain is inevitable. Jivo jivasya jivanam, right? But when you make it commercial in a large scale, you overdo things. That is the problem of the current day society. But as devotees, yes, we can use it in the service of the Lord as required.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for your answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnamataji. Anything else? Okay, looks like no further questions. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yes, Usha Mataji.
Just to say thank you very much, Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu, and for the class. It's very interesting. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Nisha Mataji.
Hey Krishna Prabhuji. If I'm not taking too much of your time, I just want
go ahead.
Know about the Krishna's birth with Devaki and Yashoda Mata. We discussed in the beginning of our explanation, and they said we cut the cord for Yashoda Mata, and then same with Devaki Mata. So how is it two different plenary portions of Krishna in there?
Thank you, Mataji. Very powerful question. Krishna is Om Purnamadham Purnamidham. So infinity minus infinity is still infinity. Krishna doesn't have that kind of thing. So Krishna, it's explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He took birth in Devaki's womb, from Devaki's womb. He also took birth in Vrindavan from Mother Yashoda. So both of them had that ceremony, you can say. Yeah. But it's that when Vasudev brought this Krishna, Devaki Nandan Krishna, to Vrajanandana Krishna, he explains that they became the same.
Okay, all right.
We discussed this, I think you are away, in India.
Okay.
In the previous session. Also, one other point, Sundar Chaitanya, Yoga Maya was like, when Kamsa took that baby girl,
yeah.
And wanted to just mash on the, stone, and she just, flew away. And at that time, she was addressed as younger sister of Krishna. The word used is Anuja. So Prabhupada writes in the purport. So Krishna must have born to Yashoda along with Yoga Maya. That's why she was addressed as Anuja, younger sister. Otherwise, there is no connection.
Does that make sense, Nisha Mataji, that they were both born to Mother Yashoda? Otherwise, how she can be younger sister?
Yes, so yes, it makes sense. Thank you very much.
Bhagavatam doesn't explicitly say that they were born as together. I mean, they were born to Yashoda, both of them, but Acharyas tell us that both Krishna and Yogamaya were born, and the Vasudev Krishna were merged in Vrindavan Krishna. So two Krishnas became one Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
That's what Acharyas tell us, and this extra thing is about Anuja, younger sister, all that is some indication.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna was actually in both the winds. Yashoda.
Okay, dear devotees, thank you so much. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Sumit Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for wonderful class, Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you for all your blessings.